Hello everybody and welcome to the Maitland Sports Ground. It's round 15 of the Newcastle Rugby League. It's the Tooheys Cup. It's 5th versus 7th here this afternoon. And of course the Maitland Pickers will be hopefully, after 80 minutes here this afternoon, come back from their shock defeat last week to Port Stephens and bounce back here. I don't think they've had back-to-back victories for quite some time, the Maitland Pickers. It's been a few months, so it'll be interesting to see what will happen come 80 minutes. Well, we're joined by the Newcastle's Herald's real NRL expert, Josh Leeson. It's been a few weeks since we've had Josh in the commentary box, so it's great to have him back. Good afternoon, Josh.
Afternoon, Pete. Great to be here, mate.
It is. It's a bit blustery, it's a bit wet, but should be an entertaining football game here this afternoon.
Great day to be, I think, sitting at home in front of the computer watching Bar TV, I think.
Perfect plug of the afternoon. Josh Leeson, you're back. Welcome back anytime. Well, throughout the week, Bar TV travelled up the highway and had a chat to their coach, PJ Ellis. This is what he had to say to Bar TV earlier in the week. Joined by Maitland Pickers captain coach, PJ Ellis. How are you, PJ?
Yeah, good, mate. Yourself?
Not too bad, mate. How are you feeling coming off that loss to Port Stephens on the weekend?
Obviously disappointed. When you look at the teams that lost last week, it was a really good opportunity for us to jump a few sides, and obviously we folded on the day last week. So yeah, very disappointing.
I guess a lot of people may not be aware, but you've got the third best defence, you've got the second best attack in the competition. I know stats don't mean much on game day, but there's a lot of encouraging signs between now and the end of the season if you can just get the nucleus of the side on the field. I think over the last 3 or 4 weeks you haven't had the team all together at all.
Yeah, well, just during the week, it's you got blokes that are working in the pits, and they're off 2 weeks or 1 week, and back the next, or they might turn up on the Friday or on the Saturday without even training. So it's we've got this far and been pretty successful, but that's most of the blokes know what's going on the field now, and it just comes back to performing on the day, I suppose.
The beginning of the season, I guess every coach strives for top 5. Have you fulfilled your expectations this year, apart from obviously reaching the GF?
No, not really, not personally. We've had a few more cattle come on board compared to last year. Last year we just missed out by a game, I suppose, and a few more cattle come on board, and we've let probably 5 or 6 games slip during the season, and that's where it's made up. It's put us in this situation where we are now.
You just mentioned then you brought in some cattle. One of those cattle, I guess for a better word, is Terence CU. How has he fitted into the culture of the club this year?
Yeah, he's settled in quite well. He brings out professionalism. So he gets on with all the young kids that are around, and gives them a few tips.
And mate, personally, what's your goals for the rest of the year and next year? What will we expect from PJ Ellis?
For this year, just to make the semis at this stage, but it's 1 week at a time. On a personal note, still undecided about next year. We'll know in the next week or two, so it's no rush.
Is it hard being a captain and a coach?
Definitely it is. There's no rest. If you're a player, you don't, as I said, you don't get that luxury of, just turning up at 1 o'clock for a meeting and getting ready to strap the boots on. It's, the 18s are starting at 9, 10 o'clock, and
so you wouldn't recommend it to anybody who wants to be a captain?
Oh man, if you got the time and the disposal, you just want to be overlooking those the next crop of juniors that are coming through, and just keeping an eye on all the players that are within the club, and that's something it's time consuming, but I mean it's I love rugby league, and that's why I do it.
And what would your final instructions be before the players run out here on Saturday?
I think just to be patient, I think, and it's 80 minutes a game, and we've just been trying to overplay ourselves, in recent weeks, and as I said, we've got the forward pack there to do it. We've got some strike out wide to finish tries off. It's just a matter of just being a little bit more patient, and building a bit more pressure on teams, and the rest will fall into place.
PJ Ellis there, midweek up here at training at the Maitland Sports Ground. He's a very quiet character, but what he says, he means it. And as you just heard there in the interview, it's all about attitude and patience here this afternoon for the Maitland Pickers. So we might go through the Lakes United Seagulls side, Josh, as they come out onto the field.
Number one today is Jamie Hulamia. Of course, he's replacing Haniti Tua, who's back with the Knights New South Wales Cup side. That's a bit of a big loss for them today. On the wings, we have Matt Craig and Marcel Ikonofu. In the centres, James Wagner and Josh Charles. The halves are Jay Sullivan and Jake Hawkins. In the front row, Tob Shearman and Nathan Campbell. At hooker is Denny Kerr. In the second row, we have Dylan Harton, Ben Stone, and at lock is Ben Sams. On the bench is Casey Burstridge, Rob Mason, Mick Skelly, and Brent Gentles.
Well, the Maitland Pickers, they're not far away from coming out onto their home side, on their home turf. At fullback for them this afternoon, we have Dow Nickow. On the wings is Ryan Lacey and Josh Morrison. The centre pairings of Dan Randell and also Elliot Jennings. The 5'8" and halfback combination, Billy Towers and Luke Clydesdale. The prop is Peter Rudder. The hooker, Terrence Siu. Over 51 NRL games. As we just see now pictures on the monitor, the PJ Ellis leading out the Maitland Pickers, looking to bounce back, as we said at the top of the telecast, after a shock defeat last week to Port Stephens. Dan Metcalf, he's in jersey number 10. Howie Grant in 11. Jaden Rosberg 12, and PJ Ellis, the captain coach, locking the scrum in jersey number 13. The interchange bench this afternoon for the Maitland Pickers, it looks this way. The 11 is Pat Robards, the 15 is Taylor Carter, 16 is Dan Killen, and the jersey 20, a late inclusion up from reserve grade, is Jeremy Zalupu. So the lights are on. It's a wet, it's a boggy afternoon up here in Maitland. The Pickers 5th on the competition ladder. 6 wins, 6 losses, 16 competition points. While for Lakes United Seagulls, they're on 10 competition points. They've only won 4 this season and they've lost 8. But before the start of this season, the Seagulls had not won a competition match since round 15 in 2012. So they've done well to scratch up 4 competition wins in season 2014. So the Maitland Pickers have first use of the football, and this is their captain going forward, and he switches from prop to lock for this afternoon's match, and this is PJ Ellis. CU, they go wide out to the train side of the ground, the scoreboard end of the Maitland Sports Ground. So you haven't missed any of the action. We've had the first set of 6 coming up. This is tackle number 4 for the Maitland Pickers, and they're down inside the Lakes United territory by 10 metres. They come up over the 40-metre line now. In numbers, the Seagulls, tackling in not pairs, but quadruples. It now comes back to CUC. Off the boot now at Towers. He kicks it downfield, and over there to collect the football is their winger in Icon Ofo, I think you'll find out there. And he runs into the captain coach of the Pickers in PJ Ellis. So Terrence Siu, he's back at hooker for the home side this afternoon, 26-year-old. So keep an eye on how he goes over 51 NRL games. Started his career with the Newcastle Knights and then went down to Manly, played around 32 games for the Cronulla Sharks. And he scored that, well, every player in his debut season, let alone debut match, would love to score a try. And Terence Siusiu had that opportunity back in round 16 when he made his debut for the Knights back in 2007 against the Bulldogs on that occasion. He's got the ball now. He sends it to the right-hand side of the field. And they're in the old cricket ground pitch area here at the Maitland Sports Ground. Speaking of Siu, he's going to kick inside his own 40. Bangs it downfield. At the back is Holomia. Drops back at full-back this afternoon. Beats one. Try to get rid of the second one. But the defence is over the top and they drag him into the ground. About 10 metres out from that eastern touchline. Of course, no on any tour for the Seagulls this afternoon. I think Joshy, as you mentioned before, off air, he's got a late call-up for the Newcastle Knights this weekend. Well, last night.
Yeah, he was caught in the side yesterday. Yeah, big loss for Lakes because he's been their go-to man all year in attack. He's like the leading try scorer in the real NRL. Very lethal at the back. I think with this rainy weather too, it probably does play into the Pickers' hands. Lakes are a very more a flamboyant side. They love to move the ball around. While Maitland are very much, they get into the grind and they get through their sets really well. So if Lakes can go with the Pickers today, I think they will be in with a shot. But if they sort of do cough up the ball, the likes of Terence CUC are really going to make them pay.
And that's what they've just done there, Josh. They've dropped the football, so the turnover back to Maitland. Of course, I'm looking forward to the clash today between the hookers as well. Of course, Denny Kerr. He's had a bit of experience up in the Queensland Cup. Of course, he played a few seasons up there with the Burleigh Bears.
Yeah, I like Denny Kerr as a player. He's got a little bit of mongrel in him. He's a little bit feisty. Doesn't mind getting involved in a little bit of push and shove and that sort of stuff. So he'll stand up to Terence today. So, yeah, it should be a good battle.
Jaden Rosberg on his back. Time off. Our referees this afternoon, well, our referee, of course, in the Newcastle Rugby League, there's only one ref. Of course, that is Graham Stair, and our touch judges this afternoon is Brendan Callender and Kylie Aylett. Seems like wherever Kylie goes, Bar TV stalks her, and she loves it. Of course, we've got the washout weekend next week, so she was telling me before the match, Josh, she's no longer going to be running around next week. She's off to Hawaii. You take that while you can in the break with Tom Aylett. They're heading over there.
Must be the place to go at the moment with these Newcastle Rugby League types. Everyone's heading over to Hawaii. Heard some nice sun over there for the country boys, but the stand of the footy wasn't all that flash, I've heard.
Oh, it was a thrashing, wasn't it? Hey? They were playing the Hawaiian residents, the country rugby league side, as the Maitland Pickers. The ball is on the ground, and the touch judge over there, Brendan Callender, puts his yellow flag up. But yeah, just getting back to that contest at Aloha Stadium, or was it Saturday week? It was a bit of a cricket score as well. It's although the game started off, they were down, weren't they? Country, it was a bit of a shock. Hawaii, I think, went to the front for a few minutes, and then country just stormed home in the second half. And of course, they had that warm-up game a week earlier before that big match at Aloha Stadium, and they flogged them on that occasion too by 60 odd points. But that was the undercard to the big test match over there between the USA Tomahawks and Toa Samoa, and a few people are saying that was an upset. The USA Tomahawks got away with that match. So let's see now if the Maitland Pickers can come away with the 2 competition points. As PJ Ellis said, they've only been beaten, well, you know, Port Stephens have come away with 2 points this season against them, and that was pretty vital, because at the moment, if they were able to manage to win, they'd be up around 3rd spot on the ladder or even more. But let's see what they can do here with the ball. Is Towers. Turns it back on the inside. Is this a try? Slack defence on the line, and it just opened up, and they've carved up, and they've gone all the way, and it's the first try to the Pickers. So it's 4-0, Josh, after 6 minutes of play.
Yeah, good angle there by the fullback time, Dale Nickow. Came back on the inside from a nice inside ball and but really that was weak defence, and you really shouldn't be scoring tries that easy at this level. But yeah, I suppose in these sort of conditions when it's wet, you want to keep changing the angle, get the defence wrong-footed, and yeah, they've done well there, Maitland.
Down Nickau, of course, as we mentioned previously when we've telecasted the Maitland Pickers, and there hasn't been too many times on the live stream in season 2014, but the son of the international Tawara and Nickau as well. So looking to take a giant leap out of his dad's repertoire as far as rugby league skills go, and there's big raps on the Maitland Pickers fullback down Nickau too, isn't it? I mean, PJ Ellis said that he hoped that Nickau this season would cement his position at fullback, and he hasn't done a bad job so far.
No, I think he's been a great player. He missed I think about a month of footy there with an ankle injury. He's been back for about 2 weeks now, I believe. But yeah, I mean, very, very tall and rangy, sort of, I guess, like his old man. Yeah, and quite quick too. But I'd really like to see a bit more of him yet. I think probably doesn't get involved maybe enough for Maitland, but off to a good start today. So maybe it will be a big game for young Ty Dale Nickau.
So we're back to the halfway line, and Lakes United get us back underway. You'll hear the referee's whistle from Graham Stair. They've lost that football backwards, the referee has said. That was a touch and go incident, but over there was Callender. He was about 50 metres away from the ball, so I don't think anybody had any idea of if that ball went backwards or forwards, but they've gone on with the ladder, and the ball and the possession back to the Pickers here. Terrence Siu, he finds himself in a dummy half. Of course, he's a bit of experience playing for Samoa, 4 games over the last few years. Of course, he went around with Samoa in the 2008 World Cup. Here's the lost ball. So we'll have a halt of play here right on the halfway line. Now he's given away a penalty. Penalty here. Well, first of all, he said there was a lost ball. Now he's given a penalty, Josh, on the halfway line.
Yeah, I'm a bit unlucky, I think, there. He looked like he was trying to offload the ball, and in this weather it was obviously quite difficult, but personally I didn't see a hand there from Lakes, but yeah, lucky break for the Pickers, and I'm sure they'll make the most of it. But sort of getting back to the Pickers and their selections today, there's probably been a little bit of confusion over what's their best sort of lineup all year. Obviously with PJ Ellis being a hooker and signing Terrence Siu into the side. I know Terrence has played a bit of halfback, he's played a bit of 5'8", but good to see him back at hook today. He's definitely his best position, and he definitely creates the most threat, I think, for the Maitland when he's playing in the number 9.
As you can see here, he just gets them going forward, and he's got that ability to know what he's coming next, and he offloads to his 5'8" in Billy Towers. He's wrestled into the ground there by Harton.
Yeah, new role there for Billy too. He hasn't played 5'8" much before, to my knowledge. Predominantly a lock or a second row, but he's certainly a gifted player.
And Metcalf, Josh, has gone all the way to score the second try of the afternoon for the Maitland Pickers. Well, his strength was able to take him all the way over the white chalk.
And I'm sorry to say, but again, really quite poor defence from Lakes. They, that was a very, very simple try, and didn't look like he was running with all that much momentum, but he's just pushed his way over, and they've really got to get better than that on their line quickly, or this game's going to turn into a cricket score.
And this is the replay coming up on the Bar TV monitor. Just have a look at the vision of Siu, and then all of a sudden found the big number 10 in Metcalf, and from 10 metres out, beat 1, beat 2. It was 3 over the top, but nobody was going to get Dan Metcalf. Wasn't it who scored the try? So the second try inside the first 10 minutes here at the Maitland Sports Ground, and for the first time in 24 hours, the sun's out. And everybody is loving that. So there's a bit of rain around the edges of the ground, so hopefully with a bit of sunshine, that might melt, if that's one word to describe the water, sink into the turf. But overall, the playing surface is not in too bad a shape considering the rain in the last 24 hours. Here's the kick to make it a conversion. He's got it. So 12-0 on the Bar TV scoreboard. Maitland over Lakes United. So we're keeping up, well, we're even in front of the clock at the moment. It's about a point a minute so far here at Maitland. And Bar TV.
Yeah, this ground's actually been earmarked for a mass redevelopment soon. A bit of government funding coming, and they're going to bring the ground closer to the grandstand and put in a new grandstand as well, because obviously if anyone's been out here in a while, it's quite dilapidated. And you are a long way from the ground, but it's going to be improved, and I think with that you'll be probably hopefully one of the better grounds in the real NRL.
Yeah, I was having a look at a few pictures throughout the week, and they're pretty much looking at doing what they've done over at the Central Newcastle complex, hey? And moving the ground closer to the existing grandstand, but then demolishing the pavilion that we're in, and making it a similar sort of concept to Cessnock, maybe not on that huge scale, but something similar. So that'll be a fantastic facility if and when that is completed.
Maybe even a media box or two, you reckon, Pete, with a bit of air conditioning? And
with a few sandwiches would go down all right too. What about the meat pies?
Esky of beer, maybe?
That's it. It's all about an afternoon at the football. You've got the trifecta there. Josh, how lovely would that be? You miss the days going to Hunter Stadium, getting the sandwiches, don't you? But I'll tell you what, the lady that makes them here, Mrs. Brown, I think her name is, no relation to the character on the TV. She does an all right ham and sandwich. Not bad at all. I've had one. I'm still alive. Here's the kick now. This is Nick Howe. Goes across field. Wants his winger to go back on the inside. But he's been collared and brought down in the middle of the turf here. About 5 metres short of the halfway line. So we see now the 5/8 in Billy Towers. Put away there by the lock in Ben Sams. Over the halfway line they come again. So the scoreboard reads 12 points to 0. And we've had 12 minutes of the match here on the official Bar TV scoreboard as they take the line on. And they're dropped down about 35 metres out. This will help their cause. They've got their third penalty of the match, the Pickers. So Graham Stair being fairly consistent in this area. He wants quick play the balls, no holding down. So the Pickers, Josh, will bang it into touch and go back on the attack about 10 metres out from the Seagulls line.
The Seagulls certainly don't need that. They're barely had the ball in this game so far, and more pressure is going to be exerted now by the Pickers, and who are looking like they're hungry for some big points today.
Radder off the bench this week into the starting lineup as with the ball comes back to CU.
George Radder, isn't he a monster?
Massive, isn't he? Imagine tackling him.
But yeah, great player. I've been very impressed with what he's done for Maitland this year since coming over from New Zealand.
They've got big forwards, haven't they?
They do, and that's why I think this type of weather is perfect for Maitland. They just get through the grind. They can drive through their sets and really put pressure on Lakes, who aren't as big a team as Maitland.
So they come out to the edge. This is Jennings. He beats one, beats two, beats the whole team and goes in and scores the third try. So there you go. It's all one-way traffic here at the Maitland Sports Ground. It's a carve-up-a-thon in the early stages. It's the Pickers out to a 16 points to 0 lead.
Yeah, that was just a simple sort of spread there on the left-hand side, and they were caught again, outnumbered Lakes, and defensively, I'm sorry to say, it has really been a poor start to this game, and they really need to tighten up and stop giving away easy penalties, because Maitland are just having a field day at the moment.
Well, they've got the third worst defence in the comp. The Seagulls, 376 points, I think I was reading this morning. So that might get a workout here this afternoon. So they're averaging around 30-odd points in defence. And so far they've let in 16 after 10.
They've been very good the last few weeks. Obviously, last week they defeated a very good Macquarie side, 30-20. The week before they kept West to a 28-20 loss. And the week before that, they beat South, which is probably the biggest upset of the year, considering that the roster South, Scott. So, this is pretty uncharacteristic start here from Lakes, because they've certainly been a lot better than this so far this season. I think probably been the biggest improving side this year, I guess probably other than Central, obviously, but Dean Noonan is doing a great job with some young players who I think are going to be a great side in a couple of years' time.
Here's the kick from Morrison from the touchline. Will it swing back to the left? No, it goes the other way. Spins out. So no change on the Bar TV scoreboard. We've had 16 minutes. still keeping up with a point a minute at 16 points to nil. Well, that's right. I mean, last year and halfway through this previous season, what was it, 2012, they didn't even win a match. So credit to Dean Noonan, and of course he's the former assistant coach, wasn't he, at the Newcastle Knights in the New South Wales Cup as well. So he's turned his side around, especially the back end of this season, as Josh just alluded there. They've knocked off and absolutely frightened a few teams in the last 4 to 5 weeks. That's good defence too from the Seagulls.
Yeah, Dean still works with the Knights. He's in he's their careers advisor. Obviously helps a lot of the young footballers get into study or looking towards post-football careers, because obviously not everyone's going to make a killing in the sport like Andrew Johns, or get a post-football media career and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, quite an important role there for the sort of the future of the players and their welfare.
And of course, Matt Lantry doing a stunning job over at the Central Newcastle Butcher Boys as well. Signed on for another year too.
Yeah, of course. It's probably been actually one of the as we go here, a bit of a break there from Lakes United. Sorry. Yeah,
where are they, Josh? They're about 40 metres out from the line. We're about 60 kilometres away from the action here this afternoon. They'll try and keep up with it. Here's a penalty going to the Seagulls, about 31 metres out from the Pickers line. So the first real opportunity to go on the attack, and they find the line 20 metres out from the Maitland Pickers goal line.
Yeah, I think that's the first penalty of the match for Lakes, and they certainly need it. Some good position now to mount an attack. And the thing is, what I've seen from this Lakes side this year, though they only have the 4 wins, they got a very lethal side, and particularly back line. They can certainly score a try, and have scored some of the best tries this year. So, yeah, if they can get the ball moving here in this wet weather, look out.
Let's see what they've got. And speaking of Macquarie, they're leading Central Newcastle by 10 points to nil. And they're in the touch. So good scrambling defence there from the Maitland Pickers.
Yeah, got close there, Matt Craig, but just probably ran out a bit of room. And, good sliding tackle. And, of course, in this sort of weather, you're always going to slide a bit extra in defence. So you're always taking a bit of a risk if you go down the touch line. But much better for Lakes. I would have liked to see them hold on the ball and get to their kick, but certainly a lot better.
The touch, as we just mentioned there, over at Macquarie. Macquarie are leading Central Newcastle 10 points to nil in the first 40 minutes of that match as well. So it's a big afternoon for football in the local rugby league, and also full-time in reserve grade. Maitland 13 defeated Lakes 6. Curry 46 over Port 10. While Souths over Cessnock, and Scorps down Central by 16 points to 14. That was in reserve grade earlier today, and back here at 16 points to nil in favour of the 5th place Maitland Pickers, as we mentioned. They've won 6, they've lost 6. They're going for 7, and it's been a while since they've been able to string 2 games back-to-back, according to PJ Ellis in their interview throughout the week. So far, so good for the Maitland Pickers here this afternoon on home soil. Yeah, actually, haven't won a back-to-back game, Josh, you were saying, since May, and only won 2 of their last 6 games. So that's a interesting sort of stat. So they're off to the perfect start here. And, of course, nobody knows the future of the coach here for the next season as well. PJ Ellis mentioned that he doesn't know what he'll do, but he gave us a bit of a tip. He said that it's a tough task being a coach and a captain, a lot of demands as well. And he also went on to say that under the circumstances, the Maitland Pickers done fairly well this season. I mean, a lot of his players here, they work up in the mines and they work up in the pits, and half the time they're not able to get to training throughout the week. And I guess, that also takes a toll on its coach as well, because he's employed to put his best people out on the park. So I guess it's not that easy when you think of how they put a squad together up here at Maitland.
No, it's the same sort of problems that, say, Cessnock and Curry have dealt with a long time, and I guess maybe even Macquarie and Lakes. They also have a lot of people who work in the mines from those sides as well. I guess it's a bit of a catch-22 that the mines bring these players to these clubs through the jobs. They also prevent them from training as much as they probably would like them to. So, it's a difficult juggling task.
And of course, there was speculation throughout the year that the Parramatta Leagues Club were going to take over the Maitland Leagues Club, but I believe that's now dead and buried. So it'll be interesting to see which way they head. Here's Terrence CUC throwing the football into a head of a seagull. You don't see that every day, but we've seen it here at the Maitland Sports Ground in the Tooheys Cup, and that will probably make the highlights throughout the week here on Bar TV. Something unique, something funny, and that's what we've just witnessed there, Josh.
Who would have thought you would have a seagull in Maitland? Seriously, how far are we from the ocean here?
Is the seagull lost or what? Do we need to give it a GPS? Have you got one? It is luxurious up here. Just a pity about the grandstand. But there's great facilities on its way, Josh. So we look forward to that.
So true story, once I was playing cricket in Gunnedah, which is another, 4 hours west of here, and there was seagulls on the ground, on the cricket ground I was playing at. So they do get lost, apparently.
Do you think people from Gunnedah, like your good self, come down to the coast, maybe pinch a few seagulls and take them home and let them out like Bill Laurie does with the pigeons? Are you a seagull fancier?
No, generally not.
Just a bird fancier?
A bird fancier, but not the feather kind, yeah.
4 metres out from the goal line. Here's a penalty, Josh, from right in front of the post for using his shoulder. What will they do here? They won't take it. They never do. 5 metres out from the line. The great thing about coming to Maitland is you get a running commentary from the locals, and from a commentator's point of view, it's a very good help. So keep it up. Isn't that right, Josh? You never know what to expect here.
Well, I can just pass the microphone back and we'll just start to sit up and eat some pies or something.
Well, he looks like he could be a commentator. He's got his binoculars. 5 metres out from the line, because we're talking of the ground announcer. And don't forget, at half-time, we have a chat about the history of the club with the Vice President, Paul Hunt. Here's the Pickers, close to the line. It's Terrence CUCU.
Big set here from Seagulls. They really got to hold them out if they want to stay in this game, I think.
16 points to 0. Good ball back on the inside. 5 metres away from the line. CUCU again. Throws it on the ground. Didn't bounce far. Out the back to Salapilatu. Beat one, still going. Flicks it out the back. Now they've lost the ball. Or did they kick it? Couldn't quite see. 5 metres out from the line, as now the Seagulls have it. Josh, 5 out from their own line.
Yeah, much better set of 6 in defence there from the Seagulls. They've obviously manned up a bit there, and Maitland, to be fair, didn't throw a great deal at them, but certainly a big improvement there in defence.
If you just tuned to the telecast last week, Lakes defeated Macquarie 30-20. While Port Stephens had their second win against the Maitland Pickers for the second time in season 2014. It's fairly wet, it's fairly muddy, and it's fairly slippery. And that's why the halfback juggled the football. Then they'll need a good clearing kick here inside their own 40. Nick Howe's got to go back down to his 10-metre line, bend down, pick up the ball. He's got his winger in Ryan Lacey if he wants to give it to him, but he says, no, I'll take it myself. And run into the 10-metre line, and he's dropped down there by a fresh-looking seagull over the top in Jay Sullivan.
Yeah, good result there from Lakes. Obviously, they had trouble getting to the kick, but the kick rolled a long way, and they've got Maitland pinned back in their own half. But Maitland should get out here pretty easily the way they're trucking the ball forward.
Well, the Pickers, they've got the second-best attack in the competition, 356 points. Coming into round 15. And they've got the third best defence in the comp too. They've only let in 236 points. So I'm talking about for and against there. As there's a seagull, a human seagull this time. Don't get it confused with the other one. 40 metres out from the line. Doesn't quite have the big peak of the other pelican. With the lights are on. But there's nobody home with the Seagulls back here on the 40-metre line. It looks a bit concussed. Doesn't look the best, does he?
Looking a bit groggy. Might be Ben Sams, I think.
He doesn't look the best at all, but he's going to play on. There's a credit there. He's just brushed the touchy with the trainer.
I think the referee's going to tell him here he's got to go off. No.
If you ever want to see a groggy player in defence, you've seen it right there. Here's the kick now off the boot of Towers. Bangs it towards the touchline. Will it roll into touch? No. It's cut off there by the Seagulls. They beat one. They throw it back into the middle of the field. They're throwing it around, and they're down and out 5 metres inside their own goal line. Now where will it come? Out towards the 20-metre line. They're spinning it around. They're trying to fill the defence, but the Pickers are there to finish them off. Who was that? Elliot Jennings? It was. And downstairs there was Jeremy Salupu as the son breaks through as Ryan Lacey. Josh is in the tackle. Now they go over the 30-metre line. 3 men in there. Well, the numbers are becoming harder to read from both sides, especially the Seagulls. White numbers on a white and blue yellow strip. Not the easiest for commentators at any level. Not easy for the touch judge over there. He can hardly see the western sun setting, so he has to put his hand up over his eyes. Here's the kick off the last. Goes straight down now to the winger in Ryan Lacey. 10 tries this year. Picked up 40 points so far. Tried last week as well against Port Stephens. He plays the ball. Who wants the ball now? Jeremy Zalupo in jersey 20. Bang down there in a 3-man tackle. About 45 metres out from the Seagulls line. Terrence Siu. He plays the ball to the right-hand side of the field. Picks up Metcalf. I think that's fine. In jersey number 10. Finished off there by Holomia. He'll get up and play the ball. Who's there again? Siu. He comes back to the right-hand side of the ball. This is the 11 with the ball in Robards. And he's going to be crunched. Siu goes himself. Looks right. Finds a picker. He's lost the ball. Scrum will pack down 15 metres out from the Seagulls goal line.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're going to get that in these sort of days. It's very, very muddy out there. But, still looking good, Maitland. Just the forwards. I mean, I've always rated their forward pack. They're big. They're quite mobile. And with Terrence C getting out of dummy half all the time, if he's not the best player in the real NRL, I don't know who is. They just looking great today. And 16-0. He's probably a bit lucky for Lakes at this stage, the amount of possession Maitland's had.
Speaking of the best, referees, Josh. Everyone loves to have a crack at referees. You love them, you either hate them. But the thing is, I think that you find the best referee, in my opinion, at the moment is probably John Taylor, possibly, and Tommy Aylett, probably second. What's your opinion on the refs this season, mate?
Yeah, I'd definitely have to agree on John Taylor. I think he's head and shoulders above anyone else at the moment. Obviously, been a fair bit of talk about Graham Stair's performance last Sunday in the Cessnock Central game this week. Certainly doesn't have too many friends up the coalfields. But, Graham's very experienced, but I think at this point, definitely John Taylor's the best. And, as you said, I think Tom Aylett's probably second. Cameron Waters, one of the new guys. I've sort of liked what he's done this year. I think he's got a bit of potential. But I think as I sort of asked a similar question during the week on the Real NRL blog on the Herald about refereeing performances this year, and to me, a lot of it has come down to touch judges. I hear when I hear the Bar TV audio during the week when I'm doing up the video, I get to hear what the referees are saying, and a lot of the advice, a lot of bad advice they get a lot of the time seems to come from touch judges. So I do think there has to be a bit of an improvement there in a lot of the touch judges' performance. But again, it's a very tough job being a referee. I mean, you see in the NRL, lots of mistakes are made all the time. I'm not going to say I could do any better because I couldn't. I'd be a lot worse. But I mean, they're all working hard, which is the main thing. And I think, I know a lot of coaches and they like to complain about them, but a lot of coaches always complain about referees, and whatever sport you're involved in, as I know, they do love blaming referees for bad performances of their players. So there's a bit of give and take there.
And of course, throughout the last month, Bar TV actually went up to Taro and caught up with Tom and Kylie Aylett and actually see what goes on behind the scenes at referee training. And I tell you what, it's pretty intense. Not many people probably know what goes on at refereeing training. I didn't know what went on at refereeing training, but gee whiz, good 2 hour, solid session, and they're running around, and they go for a 600 metre lap to finish their session, and it's pretty tense. It's pretty full on. Just like we see here on the Bar TV replay. This was pretty full on. Look at this. The fullback back there in Holomia. Couldn't go anywhere. A trapped in goal. As we come back now to live pitches here at the Maitland Sports Ground. Maitland Pickers. Not long on the scoreboard to go. We're inside the last 10 minutes, and it's one-way traffic. What is it, 16 points to 0 here on the Bar TV scoreboard. They keep this up. The clock will no doubt reach full-time fairly shortly, but the thing is, the points will keep on ticking on as they see a great ball back on the inside. Nickau looking for try. Can he get it? Yes, he can. The fullback, fantastic effort, broke free of 5, and he's gone all the way to score. 20-0, kick to cup.
Excellent work there by Terrence CC. Got out from dummy half. And again, as I said earlier, in this sort of weather with the ground's wet and muddy, turning balls back on the inside to wrong foot defenders is all to go. And again, he's done that and timed down Nickau. He's been great. A lot of strength there. He palmed off a couple of defenders, ran back the angle beautifully, and that's his second try for today. And 20-0 to Maitland with a kick to come.
Lakes, flat. How do they get back into this? Just stop the onslaught somehow, and this is how it kept on ticking up on the scoreboard. Another try to the fullback. I mentioned Johnny Cow. Just alluded to his second try of the afternoon. It's just great to watch again on the replay. This is in slow motion. He'll beat 1, beat 2. And he found himself over the line before he knows it. 20-0 here on the Bar TV scoreboard. And Macquarie lead Central Newcastle by 16 points to 6. So it's all happening there as well. So we'll keep you updated throughout the afternoon on the scores as they tick away. Have a look at this little instrument that we've got here on the 40-metre line, Josh. Can we get a shot of that? That's like one of those alien devices. What's going on, Josh?
A drone.
A drone. Well, seagulls and drones have arrived at the Maitland Sports Ground. Who would be in control of that?
Wouldn't it? He's the boss here these days. He's probably got his petrol in it and fueling it.
Or does it belong to Bar TV? Aerial shots. Who knows? But yeah, interesting times ahead next season. Frank Lawler, of course, he invited us up throughout the week. Good bloke. Bit of speculation throughout the week that Noel Dent could be coming back here to the Maitland Pickers as well next season.
Has been the hot rumour, hasn't it? Yeah.
It's circulating, Josh. Well, how much truth is behind that, do you think?
Well,
I guess he's the only one that knows.
I have asked Noel, but the thing with Noel Dent, he's famous for being probably the cagiest man in the real NRL. He's a very smart operator, and he's a great coach. I think Maitland jump over anyone to get hold of Noel Dent. Of course, he rebuilt the side when they went bankrupt, came back in the again the following year under Trevor Ott. And he also helped turn Macquarie into the strong side they are right now. So he's a great coach, and I'm sure anyone who is a fan of the Pickers would love to see Noel back in charge of the club. But, yeah, he has told me that he's probably doesn't have the time these days to coach a first-grade side full-time. So, but he's told me plenty of other things that he's done that he's not going to do that he ends up doing in the past too. So who knows?
In other words, he keeps the cards quite close to his chest, eh? Likes to give journos the runaround. Noel Dent, if you're listening, text Josh and we could exclusively reveal what his intentions are next season. I don't think he'll go that far, do you think, Josh? He'll probably tell you a week or two before the season kicks off, one way or another. Here's Nickau. Ball's gone back. 2 tries this first 35 minutes of the match. You wouldn't think there was much rain around here at Maitland. We've got blue skies above. As we see now the winger going for a scoop. Josh Morrison, Maitland's highest points. 60 points. Season 2014. metres out to the line. See you. Again. Good darting from Valley Half. Picks up Towers. He's down inside the 10. Put away there by Casey Burgess. Randall. They come up quickly. They're allowed to run all over the goal line. Can't allow it. Here's a penalty from the line of the post. Another shoulder. But the
First time we've seen a penalty kick given this season. Twice in the game, so it's a rare one.
This is Towers. Here it goes. It's going to go there. It's like an ocean. Such a good player. He does something out on the line. Practice the next week. Come back to the Maitland. Nothing like talking to yourself at the Maitland Sports Ground. It's being recorded. Yeah, being recorded. So it'll be live throughout the pub and clubs throughout the week. The two is with us. This is Lacey. He goes across there. Ryan. He mentioned 40 points here. Thanks for tuning in across the Bar TV Pub and Club Network. Across the globe, wide world web. The pictures for you. The club to the pub. You still hear us? Okay, she's still got Josh Leeson and Mr. Jolly in the commentary box. 5 metres outside the tuck. They're going to kick it, Josh. Goes downfield. They're going to collect it. The wicket does. McRae. It's 1 beat 2. Over 30. Throws a ball on the inside. Shot down there. 15 metres short. Halfway line. High tail now. Offloading. Halfway line. Still going. Inside the second territory by 10 metres. Stone. To the left. Half-back is with it. Hawkins goes out wide. He moves away from the goal. Get the kick. What's going to happen here? They're going to be trapped in goal. No, they're short by 5 metres. Right, Morrison, the highest point scorer. He's been onto the head. Now he's back up. Whiskers over there. In the goal area. Castle Knights, of course, getting from the NRL last night at Hunter Stadium. Castle Knights fan. 1 week too late. Big match. The Gold Coast is playing. Stadium. Names. 10 years since Sports Centre, Alcoy Stadium, Pickens. Last tackle. 6 seconds to go. They back in the touch. The touch on the one here, the side, 30 seconds now. 12 seconds remaining. Up the scoreboard. Away side, they haven't been able to find the goal line this afternoon. It's right behind us, Josh. So that's half time here. We'll go to the break by 22 points to 0 in favour of the Maitland Pickers.
We got the play, Maitland leading 23.0. This could be like you know, it's going to take a few Maitlands out of the Maitlands being reached to allow a victory, Maitland.
New South Wales Cup are playing New South Wales Cup and 28 points to 12 for Cutters over the Wentworthville Magpies. And in the NRL, Sowick, who was just able to nail a conversion from the touchline. It's still the Sharks leading the way. That game's being played down in Bathurst, I think we'll find this afternoon. The Sharks leading there by 14 points to 10. And there's Nagama. Picked up a try for the Panthers in the 33rd minute. Of course, played a bit of footy this part of the world as well. And so it's all happening there. And there's a ball game unfolding out at Toronto as well. Walker has scored for the Central Newcastle Butcher Boys. And Central are back in the match, but Macquarie still lead by 16 points to 12. And I think there's a bit of a contest going on between mayors at the moment too, Josh. Jody Harrison and Pat Conroy. Pat Conroy, of course, he's the MP. I think he's the member for Charlton.
They'll be calling them.
According to his Twitter.
I think the one
she's
I
had a $50 wager on that match. And so far,
and I sort of took my eyes
Jody's,
off, and
well,
player, I'm going,
she's not looking the best. The side's not looking the best, but they're coming back, so she could be out of pocket $50. How's that? Yeah, riveting. 12 metres out from the line. Now, how's everything going here? The sky's at blue. We can throw to the package. Yeah. Well, throughout the week, Josh, we headed up the freeway. You've been up this road a few times on your way to Gunnedah?
I have, yes. A bit nice now with the new Under Expressway. You don't have to go through Maitland anymore.
You don't. You can just bypass the whole town. And it knocks off, about 20 minutes to your journey up to Gunnedah?
Well, I've been up to Gunnedah since I built the road, to be honest. But
you've been on the road so far?
I have. I went out to the wineries a couple of times, actually.
Oh, you've been on the booze?
Yeah, I took my brother up there last week and been up there with the wife for her 30th birthday a few weeks ago too. Up at Tuscany Wine Resort, very nice.
Goes all right?
Can recommend it.
Free wine bottle coming your way?
Hope so. I've got too much wine at home now. I spent a fortune up there.
Oh, there you go. Well, throughout the week, but the Bar TV camper van headed up the road and had a chat with the coach and also the vice president up here. So let's have a chat now to the vice president, Paul Hunt from the Maitland Pickers. A fascinating insight into the history of this club. I'm joined by Paul Hunt from the Maitland Pickers. Paul, a lot of history right here at the Maitland Sports Ground.
Definitely, Peter. Yeah, it's been the centre of rugby league in Maitland for many years, for quite a few decades, and many a tight-fought battle has been waged here, and many of them won by the club, by the Pumpkin Pickers.
Mate, winding back the clock, the club's been around for a long time. A lot of history, a lot of proud history.
Yes, absolutely.
Talk to us about the early days. How did the Maitland Pickers come about?
Well, my understanding is that the two clubs in Maitland at the time decided to combine Morpeth and East Maitland and form Maitland United so that they could join up with the Newcastle competition. And there's a story about how the Pumpkin Pickers got their name. And during the Depression, a lot of the boys would come off the farm and take pumpkins with them on the train to Newcastle, stop off at the markets and sell the pumpkins at the markets. Again, one of the formative moments of Maitland's history and the tradition.
Mate, is there one or two particular moments that you'll remember from this ground? Whether it's victories or losses or draws?
I remember a moment when Maitland was playing against Souths, and there was a young prop forward playing for Souths. I think it was Freddie Brown. Freddie Brown was playing for Maitland and giving giving this young prop forward from Souths a pretty hard time, and they were coming off at half time, and the Souths prop forward, his mother was here. She came across the fence and started waging war on Freddie Brown's head with her handbag. So that was a memorable moment. A great moment that I remember was when Merv Wright gave the bloke of Porter from Lakes United, who ended up playing for the Eels and Australia, I think. Porter was running down the field, and Merv Wright, who was half the size of him, picked him up and buried him, which was great to see. Merv's one of the great players for Maitland. 70s was a good decade for the Pickers, yeah, and that's about the time that I started playing as a young fella. So I had the opportunity to be a part of that, and was witness to probably one of the classic grand finals in 1973 when Maitland played West in the grand final at Newcastle Sports Ground. Terry Pano was towards the end of his career, and we had some representative players in that team. We had some players that really defined the game. A player that springs to memory is Bimbo Collins, who used to be able to kick field goals from his own 20-metre mark almost. And the field goals were worth quite a few points back in those days. Alfie Burke, Pano, as I said, Ray Waskovich, a rangy second row. I can still see him running down the far touch line towards the try line. I don't know if he scored, but he was certainly was a difficult man to stop because of his long legs and solid frame.
Matt, as you look around the ground, of course, there's the old scoreboard up on the hill, up on the train station, into the ground. You've got the Dangerfield pavilions, you've got the Moreland pavilions, just steeped in history.
Absolutely, yeah. As I said, it's been the centre of rugby league for a long period, for decades. In fact, in the early part of the formation of the club, the Maitland Sports Ground was probably the what's the word I'm looking for? Premium sports venue in the Lower Hunter. Even though we did have a cricket pitch in the middle, which was something that all players tried to avoid during the game, especially after a particularly nasty wet season.
And I guess, a football team also means a lot to a community, and they go hand in hand, don't they? The rugby league team and the community at large. I mean, if it wasn't for the community, I guess the Pickers wouldn't be here, and if it wasn't for the Pickers, the community mightn't have a great team.
Well, what the committee believes, we have a belief, and I have a belief myself, that sport is one of the major elements that unites a community. I mean, it's a cultural pursuit that provides the opportunity for different areas of the community, for different people in the community to come together when otherwise they wouldn't. Gives the younger generation an opportunity to mix with the older generation and possibly learn from them. Young people have a lot of challenges and a lot more to face, and a lot more decisions that they have to come to grips with without support in some cases.
Thanks very much for taking us on a walk down memory lane. We do appreciate it, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much, Peter, and all the best to yourself as well. Thank you very much.
And welcome back to Maitland Sports Ground. You're on Bar TV with Peter Jolly and Josh Leeson. It's round 15 of the it's the Tooheys Cup, and they're back on the halfway line. We're in New South Wales, and there's plenty of New South Wales Cup action going on as well here today. So we've got the whole spectrum covered with scores and updates throughout the next 40 minutes as well, right here on the home of Rugby League, Bar TV. The next few weeks, and then of course we'll be telecasting the semi-final series in all lower grades, leading through to grand final day. It's going to be a big few months ahead right here on Bar TV. Don't you love semi-final football as well? Doesn't matter if it's first grade. It doesn't have to be first grade, does it? It can be reserve grade. It can be under 23s, the 18s. It's going to be telecasted right throughout the next 8 weeks, leading into grand final day at the number 1 sports ground as the Seagulls now. Well, it's all in front of them. Back with the 4 in Charles. 2 tries last week against Macquarie. They'll play the ball back now. Last tackle coming up for the Seagulls. Where will it come? It comes back then out of the 6. They're going to kick off the boot of Sullivan. Straight down the throat of the picker. 21 metres out from his own goal line. 22-0 here on the Bar TV scoreboard. So as we mentioned, it's going to be a long afternoon for the Seagulls if they can't somehow claw their way back into this match. It's half-time out at Toronto as well. Scorps leading the way over the Butcher Boys by 16 points to 12. As we see now, halfway line is where the Pickers are. The NRL this afternoon at Bathurst. The Sharks take a 4-point lead, 14 points to 10 over the Penrith Panthers. So the opportunity now with the fullback for the Seagulls in Holomia. If you just caught up with the news, he's the replacement for Haneti Tua, who was called up into the Newcastle Knights squad last night at Hunters Stadium. Of course, the Newcastle Knights defeated the Sydney Roosters in front of a pretty decent crowd for a Friday night in Newcastle. Around 16,000 as we see a knock on here to the Seagulls. So a scrum will pack down 5 metres inside their own into the field, Josh.
You're not starting there when you're chasing 22 points in the second half. Lakes, there was way too many errors in this first half and put a lot of pressure on their defence, which did crack several times. So, yeah, another tough start here for the Seagulls and Maitland, the way they're playing and the talent they got on that side. Yeah, they could certainly put on some more points pretty quickly, Pete.
See what they can do here in the Ron Macy Cup as well. The Windsor Wolves leading the Warriors by 18 points to 14. So for Penrith Panthers, they've had a tremendous season this year in all 3 grades, and also in the New South Wales Cup and the Ron Macy Cup, Holden Cup, and of course first grade. And back here, the Pickers, 5th place on the competition ladder, and they're on 16 points themselves, looking to secure a top 4 spot if they can hang on to their 22-point margin. Looking at them, Josh, you can put your money on that they will be able to keep this going. This is the 13 and their captain coach in PJ Ellis. Speculation that he may not be the coach next year. A few names being torn around as the Seagulls pounce on the football. 20 metres out from their own goal line, put down there by Terrence CUCU.
Yeah, let off the hook a little bit there, weren't they?
Yeah.
Lakes, but yeah, I think just getting back to PJ Ellis, I think it's pretty certain he won't be the coach next year. He's wanting to stay on there as a player, even though he is, I think, 37. So I think he'd be the oldest player in the real NRL. Yeah, he's still a great player. I'm sure he'll be able to play next season. Yeah, pretty much a bad start in the second half. People had 3 knock-ons now, 2 from Lakes and 1 from Maitland. First half wasn't too bad, I thought, considering the weather. That was the handling was still pretty good, but hopefully it doesn't disintegrate too much this game. But yeah, Lakes, you can't give the Pickers too many opportunities, or they're going to hurt you.
So they've got a deep back line spread to the eastern side of the field. Let's see what they can do now. They're in the middle of the field. They're around 30 metres out. Sloppy ball out the back. Probably the worst pass that you'll ever find to Peter Rutter.
I think if you see that, I think Terrence was doing the old trying to get a penalty here by throwing the ball into the back of the defender who was lying there on the ground. But referee Graham Stair didn't buy that.
So they're 5 metres away. They continue to come the eastern side of the field. They're going close. The fullback is with it. Nick Howe runs into Hawkins. Still going. Will he go all the way? He's only needed to reach out and plant it down. Oh, he nearly got done for double movement if he had another go.
Jeez, he's strong, isn't he? Jeez.
Strongest fullback going around, is he? They go from dummy half. Speaking of strong, that's the defence for the Seagulls. They continue through CU looking to find his winger. They go up, they come down, they score. Try time over there to Ryan Lacey. That's his 11th try this season with a total points of 44.
It's like a little box kick sort of thing there from CUC. Finding Lacey in the corner. And Lacey, as you said, 11 tries this year. Scored some great tries here. West early this year. Very, very fast and elusive. Again, showing the but again, you can't be dropping the ball inside your own 30-metre line, especially twice in 5 to 6 minutes. So terrible start from Lakes, and Maitland Pickers have made them pay.
Pinpoint kick. Never ended up taking his eye off the football. Look at that. Terrence CU. We spoke about his status in the game. Come across from Cessnock in the off season. Debuted with the Knights. Yeah.
He was signed to be the new captain coach of Cessnock this year, replacing Todd Edwards. But about 2 months after taking the role, he said he stood down as the captain coach, was going to stay as a player. And then, if you believe the rumour mill, he was shipping himself around to every club in the comp. Obviously Maitland came up with the goods and brought him over. So, it was quite a controversial move, but obviously he's been great for Maitland this year. I'm not sure if he's reached the heights that he did with Cessnock in the first 2 years back in the real NRL, but he's definitely been lethal, and I think back at number 9 is definitely his position. He's he's just so lethal out of dummy half. So he's like the little spark. He just comes out, always probing around the tiring defenders and tiring markers, and he's certainly one of the star attractions of the real NRL.
And he's just in everything, as you can see. He'll just look for him. He's just back in the right-hand side of the screen now, just jogging into the dummy half position. Here he comes now. He's got the ball. Terrence CU. You can just tell, you can tell the quality of player, the quality of players in the real NRL, where they've come from and where they can see gaps and holes. And he's just one of those types of players, isn't he? And PJ Ellis mentioned throughout the week that he's fitted in quite well here at the Maitland Pickers, and he's happy to drop back to the lock position or wherever the captain coach has to play to now allow Terrence CU in the number 9 jersey, as we see the number 1 is with it. This is Holomia.
Yeah, he's a real leader, Pete. I've spoken to people at Cessnock and here at Maitland that they say when Terrence is like on the training paddock, he lifts everyone else around him. He's very professional the way he goes about his business, and I suppose that comes back from being an NRL player. He very much works his butt off the training paddock to better himself and also the players around him. So I suppose that's why he's such a hotly wanted player in the real NRL.
And he's played with a few clubs. If you've just tuned to the telecast and don't know that much about Terrence CU, of course, he got his start with the Newcastle Knights. I think it was back in 2007. Picked up a hat-trick that day on his debut against the Canterbury Bulldogs. Then headed across to Manly, I think it was. He played around, didn't play too many games for Manly. I think it was around 8 or 9, and then he sort of came into his own, didn't he, at the Cronulla Sharks, where he was up around 30 points. But there, one-on-one steal. Not often. Did well. Akinofu. Can't miss him. He's got the ball now. Oh, geez, looking elusive. There's a picker player in trouble here, back in the 30-metre line.
Dan Randall.
Yeah. Where will they go now, Josh? They're keeping it towards the post, and they need to. The 17 is with it. Burgess. Hawkins. Wrapped up, ball and all there by Jennings. And they drive him towards the eastern touchline, where we find our touch judge out there in Kylie Aylett. Plays the ball back now, 5 metres out from the Pickers line. Harton searching for their first points of the match. Is it about to come here on the last tackle? They're going to kick it out towards the commentary side. It's alive. Baker kicking, chasing, goes the Pickers. They'll clean it up in the in-goal area. And it's going to be a goal line drop out here. More pressure coming up for the Maitland Pickers. Or is he? What's he saying here? Yeah, it is. Goal line drop out, Josh, I think.
Yeah, it was a little bit of talk there. He probably maybe caught that on full in goal, so maybe a little bit unlucky there from the Pickers. I haven't seen the replay yet. But I think this will be the first repeat set of 6 Lakes have had all game, so they've really got to take advantage of this and put some points on. I'm not sure if I think the comeback's a bit out of the question, but they can certainly make this game a little bit interesting at this point.
If they need a turning point, this could well be it. They just need to be able to somehow not slip over. He slipped over again, second time. 15 metres in from that eastern touchline. This is the Tooheys Cup, the Newcastle Rugby League. Josh Leeson in the commentary box, and you can read about this match and many more in tomorrow's edition of the Newcastle Herald.
Even Mondays, Pete. Not
Sunday, tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not working today, mate. Just
you got a day off, Josh.
Just lying around in the box with you. So tomorrow I'll have to do a bit of work, though. Yeah.
As you get older in your 30s, you start to lose the plot. It's Saturday and the back aches and all that. We're used to calling Sunday afternoon football here on Bar TV. That's what's threw me there. Saturday, all day, till about midnight. Is that when it changes to Sunday? That's what I got taught in kindergarten.
Yeah, generally, I think.
Didn't go to school after that. 5 metres out from the line. Plenty of action. Going in and around is the replay of the possible try. And he's just lost the football there as they try to bang it over the goal line. So close, yet so far. Well,
yeah, just landed just short of the line, and obviously then he's let go of the ball. If he probably held possession, he probably would have slid over and scored. But yeah, it's been one of those sort of days for the Seagulls.
And back out to the 20-metre line they come. Which way will they go now? They're trying to avoid the middle of the field, and that's understandable. As we see now. See you to the 30-metre line. 20 short of the halfway line. Where's it going to go now? They just go from dummy half. Good, valuable metres out of dummy half. Another 10-metre run. See you, screaming for a penalty. Puts his hand up, saying, come on, ref. How's this? We need a penalty. Referee says, no, you're not going to get a penalty, so just keep it going. They're going to kick inside their own half. Holomia sees the ball bounce in front of him. Says, no, I'm not going to have a chance to get to this football this time. I'll give it to my winger out there in Matt Craig. And he can do his best, and that he does. And he runs into Jaden Rosberg. 30 metres away from their own goal line. Holomia. He's got the ball this time. It's the second tackle for the Seagulls. Out towards the halfway line they come now. Penalty. 5 metres, 10 metres short of the halfway line. So they'll kick it into touch off the boot of Jake Hawkins, and they'll find the line inside the Pickers' half. Kylie Aylett on your screen there puts her yellow fluorescent touch judge flag up, and they charge onto it, and they need more runs like this, and they need to lift, and this is the time they need to do it, Josh. 25 metres out from the line. Where's it going to come now? The fullback's always been dumped into the ground. Tackling with aggression.
Good defence there by PJ Ellis. He is one of the hardest tacklers in the real NRL. Pound for pound, one of the toughest men in the real NRL, I would think. See you went in with the shoulder as well. Where's it going to come now? Losing the ball. Did it go backwards? Referee says, yes, it did, but unfortunately, who was there to dive on the ball? The captain coach, PJ Ellis. Now they've lost it. Pickers had it. Dropped it. Scrum will pack down 20 metres out from the Pickers goal line. So a little bit scrappy. Yeah, certainly not Champagne Rugby League right there. But as we said, yeah, it's had a hell of a lot of rain up here, and it's very muddy. But yeah, Lakes, they just really got to control the ball and really take their opportunities. It's this game is probably well beyond them now, but I'd like to see them at least put together a few good sets of 6, get back in this game, maybe a try or two. They have certainly been a better side than they're showing today.
As we see now, 6 more tackles for the Seagulls, 15 metres away from the line. In the NRL between the Gold Coast and Parramatta, it's 22 all with 31 minutes remaining. And back here, it's 26 points to 0 in favour of the Pickers. Seagulls, their best chance in the last few moments to have a crack at getting their first points of the afternoon. Let's see what they can do. Intercepted, and they are away. The fullback is off. Look at them go. Nickows over the 40. He's over the 30. They're chasing him, but Nickow scores underneath the post. What a try. What an intercept, and he's got speed to burn.
That's the hat-trick for Dow Nickow. Great game he's had today. He's shown a few earlier tries how he's a powerful runner and his strength and his ability to step. There we saw his ability to ascertain where the ball was going and then to obviously use sheer speed to run nearly 100 metres to score that try, and that's really a killer for Lakes. That was the first time in this game they've had a little bit of ball up Maitland's end and a chance to score a try, but thrown the long pass, and here we go on the replay. I think it was Hawkins. Yeah, and he's batted out with one hand onto the other, and great bit of turn of pace there from Dow Nickow. Not sure if his old man was ever that quick, Pete, but he was certainly a handy player for the Storm and the Sharks, and also for the New Zealand national side.
Yeah, I don't think you'll find Tawara Nickow running like his son here. Look at this intercept, beautiful. He just read his play, read his timing, and off he went. And he went, 60 metres, 70, 80 metres. He intercepted it from the 20, Josh. And he just put one leg in front of the other and just went all the way down to the goal line. And the scoreboard just keeps on ticking over. That is 30 points for the Maitland Pickers. 30 zilt. And here's the kick from right in front. Thanks to Morrison.
Interesting enough, Pete, Dow Nickow and also George Peter Ratter, the other the Kiwi prop in the Pickers side, have both sort of came to Maitland through Darren Perini. Now, Darren Perini is a coach of the New Zealand Maori side who happens to be one of the applicants for the vacant Cessnock job. And apparently he was having a job interview with Cessnock on Thursday. And he's apparently in town at the moment. So perhaps, I don't know, I'm just putting it out there that maybe if he does get the Cessnock job, he has already links with Nickow and Rather, they might see them in the gold and black of the Goannas next season. Of course, only speculation, but that's what I do.
Well, you never trust a journo. Is that the old saying? But Josh Leeson, he's one of a kind. He's the Mr. Scoop of the Newcastle Rugby League. Hey, Scoop.
Oh, we already have a Scoop at the Herald, so you can't call me that. Craig Carey, our soccer writer, he's Scoop. That's his nickname. So, and he's a proud Maitland boy. I'm sure he'd be listening at home.
What do they call you?
Oh, I don't really have a nickname. Liso?
Josh? Mr. Yeah. Gunnedah?
No.
Birdman? Seagulls. They've scattered. Not many are left around here, Josh. They've all gone flap and off to the coast they went. 35 metres out from the line. The lights is on. Sunshine. Beautiful afternoon in Maitland. Not the best morning for Rugby League. Coming up from Newcastle this morning, I thought, gee whiz, we're going to be in for a muddy contest. But since kick-off at 3 o'clock, the sun's been out and the ground has held up quite well. Not so much if you're a Lakes fan. They haven't held up that well. Down by 32 points to 0. And they've got the ball. Where are they on the competition? Well, they've had a better season than their last two anyway, haven't they, Lakes? They hadn't won a competition match since round 15, 2012, coming into season 2014, and they've had quite an impressive month, as Josh mentioned at the top. They knocked off Souths by 30 points to 28. They only lost by 8 points to the defending premiers in the Western Suburbs Rosellas, and last week, of course, they defeated Macquarie by 30-odd points to 20.
Well, there's a bit of backstory for people at home who aren't aware of why Lakes are sort of in the position they are in these days. Back in 2006, 2007, they won back-to-back titles, but and then 2008 went bankrupt, basically due to overspending on players. Since then, they have struggled, and sort of a new board's come in and has slowly rebuilding the club. I know they've had a few good coaches there over the years, Ian Burke, Rip Taylor, and now Dean Noonan, which I think they're slowly making some really good progress. I mean, Dean Noonan has targeted using guys from the Knights to help complement the young good talent they've got down there in that part of Newcastle. Your Belmont, eastern side of Lake Macquarie region. And they are slowly building. I know they've also looked at the Curry Old Boys principle they've got up there, where the great share and the great sort of fundraising they do with the club up there, and they're sort of trying to hopefully implement a similar sort of club down at Carl Oval. And if that gets on the way, I mean, that should be a great initiative, because there's some big former Old Boys from Lakes. Of course, Paul Harrigan is an Old Boy. Adam Muir is an Old Boy of Lakes, and I don't think Luke Burt, Parramatta player, ever played for them, but he, of course, was a junior of in their junior system there. So, if they get that sort of talent behind the club, and I'm sure one day we'll see Lakes back up the top of the table again.
Just on Lake sides, Central Newcastle. How good are they going? What's your impressions of their coach, Matt Lantry? I mean, we just see the play here. We'll get back to Josh about the direction that Matt Lantry is heading in, and of course they invited us out throughout the week last week, and totally impressed with the setup there. And they're the dark horse, more than a dark horse this season. If they can keep the side going the way they are, make no question about that. 31 metres out the Maitland Pickers. It's all the home side. CU has the ball. It's
been a bit of an offset, or I guess a positive of what's been, I guess, perceived by a lot of Newcastle rugby league people as a negative with Wayne Bennett coming into the Knights, and he got rid of a lot of the local bred coaches and he put his own sort of... As we're going to try here from Nick Howe. That's 4 tries for the young Kiwi player, so great effort.
Brilliant effort. He hasn't scored 4 tries in one match this season, but today he has. Sensational effort by the fullback. The captain expected it, the captain coach. He said, look out for Nick out today. He had to own the game, and I think he has. 4 tries. Brilliant effort.
You look here on the replay, looks like Dan Metcalf taking the line. On the grandstand side of the touch line, but very narrow there, and he used every centimetre there. And a bit like Jared Hayne there a couple of years ago in that try in the State of Origin game when he nearly tiptoed it down the sideline. Looked very, very close there, and great try there by Time Dale Nickow. And geez, we're getting a bit embarrassing here for Lakes, isn't it, Pete?
Well, that's their 36-0. Got to be close. 36 points to 0. Just looking over at the scoreboard, the sun is reflecting that hard on the scoreboard that the numbers are quite muddled up, or is it just my eyesight? Could be a bit of both. But there's also half time. We've got a score update from Cessnock. Cessnock 12 lead South Newcastle 6. That's South Newcastle trailing by 12 points to 6.
Of course, very much a must-win game up there at Cessnock for the Goannas. Of course, with Maitland going to win here, it would have opened a 4-point gap between 5th and 6th spot. And so they've definitely got to win that game. If they win that game, they're going to still be definitely in the hunt, but a difficult run home. I think they play West at Harker and got 2 games home and away against the Scorpions. And, of course, they have a bye in there too. So, difficult run home from Cessnock, especially without Riley Brown. But if they've beaten South up there, that's proof that there's a bit more fight left in the Goannas yet.
And, of course, the 4 points that Maitland Pickers dropped against the Port Stephens Pickers could come back and bite them on the backside as well. You know, they could have been up into 2nd, 3rd place if they were able to knock over Port Stephens. But credit to Port Stephens, they've absolutely given it to a few sides this season. So take big credit to those guys up there, up at the Bay.
It does suggest to me that with Maitland there is a little bit of complacency there at times. On paper, I think they're at least in the top 3 best sides in this comp. They've got some great players on their roster. I think I picked them to come 3rd at the start of the year. But obviously at times they do seem to drop off. Today's not one of those days. They're getting through their sets well and they're playing some good footy. But 2 losses to Port Stephens. They've lost to Curry. So they obviously do drop down a few times, but they've also nearly beaten West here, and that was against a full strength West lineup as well. So yeah, Maitland at their best, they certainly could win this comp because they've got a few class players. You've got Billy Towers, PJ Ellis, Terrence CC. Those guys all know how to win comps. So and also Dad Metcalf. He's won a premiership too for the Pickers in the past. So they've got a good side.
We might have a chat about Western Suburbs in a moment too, Josh. Just got a score update from Macquarie. Macquarie lead Central by 28 points to 12. Ryan Houston has just gone over in the corner. Picked up his second of the afternoon. So looks like Macquarie will go on to claim victory against the Butcher Boys. What's that? The Butcher Boys 7th? Was it the 7th? They're after 7 wins today, weren't they? If they were to knock off Macquarie.
Yes, they've won 6 in a row. They were going for the 7th today, which sounds like, with the sound of it, they're going to struggle to do that.
West, Josh. I mean, Craig Miller. He spoke to Bar TV and he said that at the moment he's not happy. He's not happy about their attitude. Definitely not happy about their attitude, and a few players, their antics. Of course, he's said that players have broken protocol and they've gone out on the town and all that sort of stuff, and he had no hesitation at all to drop 2 players back to reserve grade a few weeks ago. But he also was mentioning it might not all be over yet, because a few of the players from Hawaii could also find themselves back in reserve grade before they come back up into first grade. But a lot has changed in the last few weeks since those players have gone over to Hawaii. So what does Craig Miller do? I mean, if you're the coach, do you stick solid to your guns and say, okay, if there was ill discipline, do you drop a few more, or do you just rush them back in the squad? What do you do?
No, I think he's definitely got to drop those players, which I believe Jake Finn and Callan Richardson. They need to miss a game too, because otherwise, I mean, I guess his authority is going to look like he's a hypocrite, isn't he? If he drops the other 2 and not them, just because they've lost 2 games in a row. And knowing Craig Miller, the coach he definitely will drop them. He's not that type of coach that would backflip on discipline. I think he feels that's very important to the makeup of the team. And I mean, I still think they're going to win their plenty of games, even with those players missing 1 game. I don't think it's not the end of the world. And I think, he has spoken about if there's a few attitude problems there. I suppose it comes about when you've won 2 premierships in a row. And I think that the biggest thing, though, there is that they've lost Matt Thurston and Joel Penny, who retired at the end of last year, because those 2 guys were basically the leaders of the club. They were the, Jermaine Ale is the captain. He's also now out for the season as well. So they've lost a lot of their leaders on the field. And I know, just around training and that sort of stuff, they're really lacking the voices that those players provided. So, maybe there's a few players there need to lift and really become leaders, I guess.
So the Seagulls, again, soul searching. Harton, close. He may have got there.
Yeah, he's got it down.
Try time. First try of the afternoon to the Seagulls. They're on the scoreboard. 36-4, kick to come.
10 or 11.
Harton is the try scorer. Everyone believes that it was the 10, but I reckon we'll put our money on Harton. We called it Harton. Let's see who it is. We'll have a look at the replay. They're 60 kilometres away from where we are in the box with mud all around. It's the 11 in Dylan Harton, everybody. Dylan Harton has scored.
How did they ever doubt you, Pete? Really?
We called it Dylan Harton just in case you thought it was otherwise. Right. Well, there you go, Josh. We love Maitland. We love it. We love it. Do you miss home, Gunnedah? Does it reminiscent of Maitland?
Not really. I lived in Maitland too as a kid, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, I lived in Bulwarra for a couple of years.
It's going ahead.
Went to Maitland Grosman High for a bit.
Did you?
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, I do know this part of the world quite well.
Who's the kicker, he says? The kicker was the kicker.
Just got to do everyone's job, don't we?
We're a jack of all trades today. On a day where I can't see and you're asking me something like that. Who was the kicker?
That try was scored by Lakes United's number 11, and the goal was kicked by Lakes number 2, Matt Craig, bring the total score of Maitland 36.
Well, there you go. He's got it. Matt Craig. What do you reckon, Josh? We'll lock in Matt Craig as the kicker. Matt Craig was the kicker. We're pretty sure. Pretty sure to be sure. So it's a joint effort. It's funny, the ground announcer was just putting over a request. If anyone disagrees with the goal kicker, get back in touch. Oh, how funny is that? Oh, don't you love it?
It's the real NRL out here, mate. It's not always polished. It's not always 100% professional, but it's entertaining, and that's what footy's all about.
That's exactly what it is all about. Ikanufu down the sideline, Josh, losing it. Goes into touch, will it? Somebody's going to go into touch. No, they may not. Well, now they might. The ball's into touch. Put the flag up, he does. Well, it's entertaining on and off the field. And the crowd still here to cheer on their local side. And they've only got around 15 minutes to go on our official scoreboard. So the Maitland Pickers, that will be their 7th win of the competition this year. They'll move up the ladder onto 18 competition points. 16, of course, is where they are at the moment. So we want to have a look at the ladder. With Souths trailing up at Cessnock, it could be interesting, just like that tackle there on Josh Morrison. 25 metres out from the line. Eastern side is where the ball comes. This is Rosberg. 15 metres in from that eastern touchline. Centre of the field. The 12 will get up slowly, Jaden.
You're just looking at the run home here for the Pickers, and this win is going to be very, very vital for them because following this game, they've got to play Central at St John Oval.
Mm-hmm.
Then they've got South back up here, and then they finish the season against West at Harker Oval.
Wow.
So, this is a massive 2 points here today, and they're going to have to win probably at least another, maybe two. One might get them home depending on how Cessnock go, but they're going to at least need a win, you'd think, against either South, West, or Central. And, of course, Central next week, they're going to be hard to beat down at St John Oval. Should be a great game. That game will be potentially 4th, 5th, and 4th spots. So
they've lost the ball. Seagulls, Josh, have to go away and collect it, but the referee says come back here. Interesting times out at Macquarie. The contest is alive and kicking. 15 to go. Macquarie 28 leads Central 18 with a kick to come. Chris Mulborough has just scored, so he'll be looking to convert his own try. Mr. Yellow Boots out there, Chris Mulborough. And back here, well, it's all one-way traffic. It's 36-0 in favour of 36 points to 6. That's right, they have scored the try.
Hey, come on, don't rob them those 6 points.
Well,
They worked hard to earn them.
I wanted the footy tab. Obviously, can't make the score up, can't get the dividend, hey? 35 metres out, Josh. 36 to 6. What do we got here? Lost ball. Right in front of the post. 30 metres out from the Seagulls goal line. Next week, of course, Lakes will travel to Curry, or is it the other way around?
Curry will be travelling to Lakes.
Yeah, and Central, as you just said there, they'll take on Maitland. So that'll be an interesting round 17 of the Newcastle Rugby League.
Yeah, massive round next week. We've got some huge games. South and Macquarie at Townsend Oval. West and Cessnock at Harker Oval. And, of course, Central and Maitland at St John Oval. All three games highly vital for the makeup of the top 5 going into the semi-finals.
There's only 3 more weekends of Rugby League before we head into the semi-final series of 2014. And back here we've got a penalty to the Pickers. 30 metres away from the Seagulls line. 4 tries to the son of the New Zealand International Tawara Nikau. Dal Nikau here this afternoon. Make sure you catch 4 spectacular tries. Not just a little bit of show and go. He's gone the length of the field. He's barged away from players to get the try. So it's worth the highlights throughout the week to get your hands on this match and check out the fullback's performance here against the Seagulls. 4 metres away from the goal line. Pickers, they're not done yet. CU turns it back on the inside to Metcalf. The 10 is in. Another try. Metcalf, he goes over for his first of the day. Somebody's been sent to the sin bin here, Josh.
Bit of back chat.
Yes.
Not coming back on because there's less than 10 minutes to go.
All right then. Well, you heard it. There's only 7 minutes to go, so he won't be back on. Whoever has been sent from the field for 10 minutes. Here he comes now, the Seagull coming off the field.
Getting back that try there, Pete, that was just a classic Pickers move. They've been doing that all year. Terrence CC getting out from dummy half and turning it back on the inside to a big forward, and he's hit this beautifully here. Dan Metcalf, and mate, he's a wrecking ball. You can't stop him that close from the line, and yeah, another great try for Maitland. It takes him into the 40s.
Sure does. This is it on the replay against CU. He went two ways. He went left, he went right, he went right, he went left, offloaded the pass, and who was there? Metcalf. Next to the post. And that's why he would have learned a few things in his NRL playing career at Manly, Cronulla and Newcastle.
That
51 tries as bombs are about to go off 5 metres out from the line. Oh, those Seagulls, aren't they noisy when they're on the roof?
Yeah, might need a new door here at Maitland Sports Ground because the hinges sounded like they went for a bang then. But yeah, that was Rod Mason, of course, who got 10 minutes in the sin bin and an early shower. But probably the best time to be sent, sin bin early. You get in quick, get the shower, get out there before everyone else gets the rush on, get the hot water before it runs out.
Is that what it was? He disgusted with himself and slammed the door. Gee, where's the whole grandstand shook? Did you feel that? The camera's rattled. Thought it was an earthquake. We haven't seen one since '89. That was 5.6. I think we just felt 7.8.
Sounded like me a few times back in my cricket days when got a stiff decision from an umpire and come back in and whack the cricket bat against the wall or something.
Up at the Gunnedah Oval. Played a bit of cricket up there.
Yeah, tried to. Yeah.
Back here.
Spent a lot of time on the pavilion anyway.
Having a few waters. Being the scorekeeper, they bang it into touch. Josh, Kylie Aylett. She's off next weekend. She's out of the country. She's setting sail to balmy Hawaii with Tom Aylett. They're not required next weekend, of course. And for family and friends that may not know that she's off to Hawaii, well, that's where she's off to. 5 metres out from the line. Can't keep any secrets around town. You try not to. The 12 is Rosberg. See you again.
Tom Aylett must be trying to see if he can get a tan to rival John Taylor's. Of course, John Taylor's well known in the real NRL community as having the best tan in the competition.
Solarium, John Taylor finds himself every few days, is he? Oh, there you go. There's a story next week. 45 metres out from the line. Imagine that photo. Taylor on the solarium on the back page of the Herald. 45 metres out.
He's a good man, John Taylor.
Chad Watson, he's the editorial man up there, isn't he, these days? Might pitch it to him. 14 metres away from the line. Pickers, not done yet. Nick Howe, he wants his 5th try, but they're going to go the opposite way, and that's where they'll score in the corner.
Well, a forward pass to me there.
It was.
Quarterback.
Looked a bit white. Graham Stair, he could do with the solarium. Don't you reckon? Not much sun on our official here, Graham Stair, and his associates with Brendan Callender and Kylie Aylett. Well, coming into this match, we read out the facts, and the facts are pretty simple. The Pickers, and Ellis indicated this throughout the week, they have not won back-to-back games since May 2014. And they only won 2 of their last 6. Is that right? I'd like to dispute that. I haven't figured that one out. He was mentioning a few things at 100 miles an hour, but we might just clarify that stat because that seems pretty far off the pace for me. 2 of their last 6. So this would be 3 of their last 7 if that information that we picked up throughout the week is correct. Here's the big tackle. Look at this. around the top and into you. The picker went flying 5 metres out from the line. Where are they going to come now? The 13 is with it. Sams. Put away there by the 11 in Robarts. Spinning it through the back line, looking, praying for their second try of the match. They're going to go close. That's all they are going to do. They're a metre short of the goal line. They've got not long on the clock to go. Around 50 seconds. Can they finish it with a try? Josh Charles is with the ball. Flicks out the back. Ikenofu. Got it back. Goes to the line. Has he scored? Knock on. No try. So not long to go before the siren blasts everybody out of the grandstand. So we're just doing the calculations on the run. Josh, what have you come up with?
It was actually 3 wins from the last 8.
Right, so that...
So it's now 4 from the last 9.
So it's close. Here we go. Stand by. That's full time. It's all over. That's all they wrote. After round 16 of the Tooheys Cup, the Newcastle Rugby League is all but done and dusted for Saturday afternoon football. Maitland 42 have defeated Lakes 6. Well, there you go. The Pickers continue their search towards the 3rd position on the ladder, quite possibly. 3rd or 4th after today's victory?
Well, no, that should be 4th because, Macquarie, by the look of it, are going to beat Central, which will keep them in 3rd spot. But, it'll guarantee that Maitland aren't in... Maitland will actually go to 4th, sorry. They should leapfrog Central into 4th spot. Central will go to 5th, depending on if Cessnock are victorious up there against South. But, very one-sided game here today. Lakes, unfortunately, look very much off the pace. Just too many errors in their own half, turned up too much ball. And Maitland with their great forward pack who just continually just grind through their sets. Terrence CC was big, and, of course, timed down Nico at fullback, scored 4 tries and showed plenty of speed and pace. And, it was tremendous performance by the Pickers. And even though it was a pretty small crowd here today, they were certainly entertained by their home side.
And a score in from Macquarie. Well, it's all over out there. Andrew Subner has just picked up another try for Macquarie. And it's 34 points to 18 over Central Newcastle. So they haven't been able to keep their run of wins going, Central. But haven't they been impressive to get to where they are today?
No, a tough place to win any footy game down at Peacock Field. I mean, the crowds are very vocal. They let you know if you're not wearing a green and gold shirt, what they think of you. And, very tough place to win. And, very tough, brutal forward pack too. I mean, you got Blake Allen, Denny Vaughan, Adam Swadling. They're all very tough guys. And, I'm sure Central will learn a lot from that loss today, but good performance obviously there by Macquarie. That'll keep them in 3rd spot.
Well, as you can see, PJ Ellis coming back up the field. We might be able to have a quick chat with PJ. Just right now, you'll be able to hear the vision of PJ. PJ, good win today, mate.
Yeah, it certainly is a much improved performance. Obviously, it was a bit of a shocker last week, but we're heading in the right direction.
What pleased you most about today?
Just the patience within the side and the direction around the park, and just the working really hard and well in defence. Thanks a lot.
Well, there you go, PJ Ellis there speaking to Bar TV as he was heading up the players' tunnel. He said perseverance and defence and good attitude won him the money today, won their side the money today. So good luck to him. And, of course, next weekend they face Central out at St John Oval too. So that'll be another good game of football. And, of course, Lakes will go on and play Curry as well in round 17 of the Newcastle Rugby League. Well, that pretty much wraps us up from the Maitland Sports Ground. We'll read about Josh's match in Monday's Newcastle Herald and a whole lot more. So thanks, Josh, for popping up here. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Pete. Thanks to you and Josh and all the other boys at Bar TV. It's a pleasure to be here.
And of course, if we don't catch up with you this season, you'll be back next year on Bar TV as well. So we haven't got long to go in the real competition, but Josh has been outstanding for Bar TV, you know, volunteering his time. And we also thank the Newcastle Herald for allowing him to come on board as well. So on behalf of the entire Bar TV commentary side, from a glorious afternoon at the Maitland Sports Ground, if you're a Maitland picker, we'll see you next weekend. Bye for now.